Here we are. What'd you get?
Looks like peaches. Might have been apples. What'd you get?
Cobbler something. I think it's pear.
John, Miss Sayers. Good to see you. Please have a seat. I'm very sorry to interrupt your dinner this way.
So what's this all about?
The Warren Commission is preparing to issue a report declaring that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone.
Well, we knew that would happen.
Things have changed, John. LBJ is pulling in all of his favors to block me from becoming vice president. Now, that means I only have a few months left as Attorney General. I need you to testify before the commission.
We don't have any proof.
The commission will have my word that you're on the square. They'll hear your story. And if they believe you, they'll investigate further.
If they believe him. No one's believed us so far.
It's the chance we have to take.
Yeah, but John is the one taking the chances. You still have your life and your career.
Miss Sayers, my brother was killed to protect this damn secret. And my life is very much in danger. It's the only card I have left to play, John.
I know you don't support this. But it's what we set out to do.
I know.
I'll fall in alongside him. As it was.
Could we get some coffee?
I got a full thermostat in the car. For a midget under here when I first saw it, but it's actually an electronic robot.
Thank you.
But the man operating him is nowhere near.
You and your husband are from what part of the country?
Washington. Until last year. And we're not married.
Me neither. I was, but I'm on the road a lot in my line of work. That'll be Agent Kincaid. But just in case.
Cam, do you know where my razor is? Hey, Barrett. 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 Oh, my God. Kim, honey.
Before you get all dressed up for your big performance, we need to talk. Here's a message, John. You try to be a hero today, and I will find you again. And next time we won't be talking. Understood?
My name is John Lowengarth. I'm recording this because we may not live through the night. They're here, they're hostile, and powerful people don't want you to know. History as we know it is a lie.
After the Kennedy assassination, President Johnson appointed a blue-ribbon panel called the Warren Commission to report back the truth to the American people. Kim and I, after almost a year of running, had a piece of the puzzle they had never even considered.
We're back in special session. Mr. Attorney General, as you know, we are in the process of writing a report now. The evidence-gathering phase was well known to your office.
Mr. Chief Justice, When you have heard from this next witness, you'll understand why I brought him forward now.
Mr. Kennedy, how do you know this, John Lowengaard?
He came to my brother in October of 1963 with evidence of a conspiracy, which prompted a meeting with Mr. Lowengaard at my home in Virginia. He also checked out certain elements of your story, very discreetly, of course, and it seems to hold together.
So what's the president gonna do?
John, the president has less than a year left on his term. He's got to get reelected if he's going to do anything. Second term, that's when we can get this out. After that, it was obvious. The people had to know. Jack wanted to tell them.
I could take the Fifth Amendment.
But that would make you look like you had something to do with the president's death.
Kim, whatever reasons Bach had for letting us live so far, the minute I drag him into this, he doesn't have them anymore.
And it's pretty obvious. No one can protect us. Especially after this morning.
John, it's ready for you. You still want to do this?
What do we do here, Kim?
Last night, you said, this is what we set out to do. They have to know, John.
You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Be seated. State your name and residence, then you may begin with a statement.
My name is John Lowengaard. I have no current address. Less than 5 hours ago, I was threatened at gunpoint against testifying before this commission. This is not the first time that powerful people have tried to silence the truth. I came to Washington, D.C. after President Kennedy's election, along with my girlfriend, Kimberly Sayers, who's here with me today. I found a job working for my hometown congressman, the late Charles Pratt. Sir, I can take that now. Sorry, Mark, I should have delivered this yesterday like you asked.
Lowengaard, you make sure those people know that I personally called in favor?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Lowengaard. I owe you one.
Shortly after that, I was given a promotion as a researcher. My first assignment took me to Ohio to the Air Force office of Project Blue Book.
You're not planning on going through them all, are you?
Never leave a stone unturned.
They're broken down into categories. You got your lights in the sky, which are usually airplanes of the planet Venus. You got your photos, which are usually fakes. And then you got your contactees, which are always wackos.
Contactees?
You know, the ones who see the little green men and then go for a joyride in their spaceship.
The congressman wanted me to find a program that he could suggest cutting, and, well, flying saucers seemed like a good idea.
Mr. Chief Justice, I am here to investigate the death of our beloved president, not to hear some cockamamie story about little green men.
They're gray, Alan. You should know that.
What the hell's going on here? Do you know this man?
I've never laid eyes on that man in my entire life.
Sir, this commission has a limited amount of patience. Please come to the point.
Yes, sir. Next, my research landed me in New Hampshire, where I went to interview a couple, Betty and Barney Hill, who claimed to have been taken aboard a flying saucer. Now, although their story seemed rather fantastic, I found them to be quite credible.
I went out into a field with the binoculars. When I looked through those windows, I saw about a half dozen living beings looking back at me.
You mean people?
I mean living beings.
That same night when I was driving home, I was basically attacked.
Attacked by a flying saucer?
No, sir. I was attacked and threatened by men who work for the United States government.
Get his tape.
Who are you?
I am nothing but a figment of your imagination because this incident never happened. You drove home uneventfully. Tomorrow, you will file a report with Pratt telling him Blue Book doesn't cost enough to merit his attention.
You want me to put him to bed?
What? What? What are you doing? I haven't done anything. Help! Help!
Mr. Lowengaard!
What?
Keep your nose out of our business, or next time we'll make a house call.
Mr. Chief Justice, may I address the witness directly? I wish to warn you, young man, that you're treading on very dangerous ground here. This commission operates under presidential authority. And when you lie to us, you're committing perjury. And when you perjure yourself, you will go to jail.
For God's sake, Alan. This isn't an inquisition. This man is here at the request of the president's brother. Now, Mr. Lowengaard, I'm Congressman Gerald Ford. Now, do you or don't you have evidence that relates to the death of President Kennedy?
Yes, sir, I do, and that's why I'm here.
I urge you to give us your relevant testimony.
Thank you. The Majestic 12 operational structure draws heavily on naval intelligence, although members of all service branches seem to
What's he saying now?
More to the point, what isn't he saying? Obviously, Juliet didn't work. He's already fingered you by name, Frank, chapter and verse. We could have killed him 100 times.
He's digging his own grave.
Can I have a word with you? With all due respect, Frank, that is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court that Lowengart's talking.
He's got no physical evidence, no corroborating testimony at all.
He's got the Attorney General.
He's not after us. He's after Kennedy's killer. We both know that's Oswald.
People can smell the truth, Frank. The only way to keep him away from it is to light a fire in the same room.
Bill, you're worried about it. Get a team on it right now.
Stupid son. I want everything we got on Lowengardt, everything.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lowengardt, I'm confused. Who exactly created this Majestic 12 and to do what?
President Truman did in 1947, sir.
Good God. That thing just spoke to me. They just demanded our unconditional surrender.
This took place at the Roswell Army Air Base in Roswell, New Mexico. Truman decided to fight back, and the ship was shot down. Basically, gentlemen, all the stories you've heard are true.
We're going on the offensive, men. And if we live through this, I want him in charge of cleaning up this mess.
Yes, sir.
Frank Bach was placed in charge of covering up the entire Roswell incident. And it was Frank Bach who recruited me into Majestic 12. I thought it had something to do with the Cold War.
You tell me, Mr. Lowengardt. Does this look Russian to you?
On my first assignment for Majestic, we went to Idaho to investigate a strange crop marking in a field. This was 1962. During the investigation, the farmer who owned the field was killed. During an autopsy, it was discovered that that farmer had an alien organism rooted in his brain that was identical to the ones found in the graves from the Roswell crash. One of those alien organisms infected a Majestic agent. That agent, Jim Steele, is now a member of the alien hive. He also shot at the president from behind a grass embankment across the street from where Lee Harvey Oswald was positioned. Later, he gave the order to Jack Ruby to silence Oswald.
I know it.
Jim Steele's position at Majestic cannot be compromised.
Why don't you just pay somebody like we did the Kennedy hit?
Jack Ruby is a friend to the police. That's why he was chosen. It's his destiny.
Jimmy, if I shoot him, they put me away forever. Listen to me, Jimmy. I love my life. I love the club. I love the broads. And Jack Ruby's not ready to give any of it up yet.
We must increase our presence within him.
All right, let's just hold it right there. Mr. Chief Justice, members of the commission, I think we're simply being embarrassed now. I would like to dismiss this witness.
I have to agree.
This entire day's been a huge insult to our work and to the president's memory.
Mr. Dulles, I think a man my brother had to fire for insubordination is hardly the person to be the guardian of his memory.
Mr. Attorney General, surely you're no longer suggesting this man is a credible witness.
I know how this must sound, but I have seen hard evidence, and Jack saw it too.
Well, if this evidence exists, bring it forward.
It is now back in the possession of Majestic, and if you want it, you must use your considerable legal powers to compel the testimony of the leader of that rogue organization.
You actually want this committee to act now as if we believe in flying saucers.
Ask Franklin P. Bach. He most certainly does.
You want to know when Lowengardt got the measles? You want to know what he got his girlfriend for Christmas? We got it covered.
Almost feel sorry for the kid.
I'll tell you, Frank, I had a harder time cramming for midterms at the academy.
Sometimes I think it would have been kinder just to kill him.
You can still make the call.
Nah, this way's better. No fingerprints.
I'm gonna get some coffee.
Captain Franklin P. Bach, do you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, to help you God?
I do.
This committee has familiarized itself with your distinguished service record, Captain, and let me be the first to assure you that you are under no suspicion in regards to President Kennedy's assassination. However, it is the understanding of this commission that you are the commanding officer of this man you see before you here, whose testimony we are currently scrutinizing. How would you define your relationship with Mr. Longard?
Well, I'm not a psychologist, sir, but in the Navy, what we say about men like Mr. Longard is that he's not playing with a full deck. I met John Longard the way most people came to meet him in Washington, at gunpoint.
Get out! Move it,
All right. What is it you want?
Turn around. I want in.
You want in? In where?
Majestic. Yeah, I know all about it. Yeah, I've been watching you for weeks.
I'm an officer in naval intelligence, son. I don't know what the
Hey,
hell
I'm
you're
not
talking
stupid.
about.
I'm not stupid. And you're gonna help me because you don't got a choice.
I don't have a choice. What is it that you want to do?
That's none of your business. That is my business. Your business is to get me in smooth. No wrinkles. Next time, I'm gonna make a house call, Captain Bach.
That's a lie, Frank, and you know it. Mr. Longard, I will not tolerate such outbursts. As long as I'm presiding over this investigation, it will be conducted with order and respect.
So are we to understand that your relationship is based entirely on blackmail?
Yes, sir. It turns out that Mr. Longard was trying to get incriminating evidence on a congressman he was working for.
This agency, this Mr. Longard claims you run, Majestic. Are you, or have you ever been a member?
Sir, I work for a classified military operation. Without an executive order, I am not at liberty to discuss anything further.
Mr. Kennedy, I was paid through a non-existent pet store called the Aquarium. Haven't checked my bank records for the last 3 years.
Sprinkled throughout Mr. Longard's fiction. Beyond that, I am not prepared to comment.
Did you divulge any information to Mr. Longard?
Disclosing classified information would be a breach of national security. I can't be any more specific than that with you, and I certainly wouldn't be with him.
Did he persist in his threats?
Not at first, no. He managed to dig up enough dirt through other channels to keep himself satisfied.
Mr. Chief Justice, before Mr. Loengard is railroaded here, I requested his bank records for the last 3 years be subpoenaed.
What's the point?
Well, Mr. Loengard received payroll checks from a non-existent pet store called the Aquarium, a Majestic front, and I believe that these statements will verify Mr. Loengard's assertion that he was recruited as a paid operative by Majestic.
So noted. Those statements will be pulled.
Captain, you mentioned that Mr. Longard sought intelligence information on the late Congressman Charles Pratt. Do you have any knowledge of Mr. Longard's involvement in his murder?
Only this. Somehow, Loengard used a negative psychiatric evaluation of Pratt to get Miss Sayers there a job at the White House. He would do anything to get closer to the Kennedys. When Loengard later pressed for Pratt's resignation so that he could run for the congressman's seat, the poor man snapped. It's all right here in a police report.
You bribed the police to change that story.
Mr. Longard, control yourself, please.
Now, Mr. Chief Justice, I also have a testimony from the apartment manager, Mr. Chesney, who testified that Mr. Longard forced him at gunpoint to tell the police that the murder happened during the course of a robbery.
I must say, Captain Bach, for someone who clearly gives Mr. Longard's testimony no credence, you've gone to great lengths to discredit him today.
Well, sir, all of us in my business have an obligation to keep an eye on what we call left turns. And believe me, sir, that is exactly what Mr. Longard is. After the Pratt incident, with Longard and his girlfriend both out of work, they broke into my house. Took some money, a few valuables, and my ID. I have another police report on that right here. Now, by that single act, he moved from being just a nuisance into being a threat. I ordered a full investigation, hoping to put him away. Ironically, his own family beat me to it.
What the hell is this? Dad, what is going on?
Wait, what are you doing? Where are you taking him?
I'm sorry to have to do this, but we're taking him in for psychiatric evaluation.
Psychiatric evaluation?
Apparently, he returned to Fresno in order to ask them for some money. Told them some story about aliens chasing them.
Get you on the outside, just let it go.
Stole his father's safety deposit box.
How can you do this to your own son?
And ended up in a mental institution.
Is that true?
Again, all the reports are right here, including a detailed psychiatric evaluation of Mr. Longard that calls him, and I quote, a paranoid schizophrenic with acute antisocial tendencies. Now, I'm not a psychiatrist, but my observation is that Mr. Longard was obsessed with President Kennedy, with the way he dressed, the way he talked, the way he walked, and somewhere in the middle of this obsession, he just snapped. Now, if you're going to entertain Mr. Longard's conspiracy theories, I would also ask you to investigate Mr. Longard's whereabouts on November 22nd.
Captain, what? Are you implying that Mr. Loengard was somehow involved in the president's assassination?
You will never get away with this, Frank. Never.
Mr. Loengard, sit down.
For God's sake, Earl Johnson's breathing down our necks for this report. We're on a wild goose chase.
That's enough. All right. We'll take a recess for the weekend and reconvene. Mr. Loengard and Captain Bach will be detained until Monday. And Mr. Attorney General, all due respect to your lost brother, but this man, this Mr. Loengard, is making serious charges. I will either see evidence to substantiate them on Monday, or I will recommend this man be charged with perjury.
We need something, Ken. Anything.
We'll get it.
Okay.
Come with me, sir.
Mr. Kennedy,
I wish you two had told me about that Fresno incident earlier.
we are not on trial here.
Unfortunately, it's turning out that way.
Mr. Kennedy, John's brother was infected with the parasite. His parents couldn't understand. They overreacted. They panicked.
Listen to yourself. That kind of testimony only confuses the issue.
You vouching for John's story was never enough. The truth is too incredible, and Bach is too smart. You got him into this. Now you have to get him out.
How?
I have an idea. But it's gonna be dangerous.
I'll take care of Carolyn and the kids.
Thanks.
Anything I can get you?
Yeah, give me a pack of cigarettes.
Have a nice weekend.
Well, John, guess you had your day in court. At least Ruby made all the papers. Where'd your plan get you, John? I've been reading everything, looking for some mention of your story. Can't find it. They don't even know you exist. Probably just get 10 to 15 years hard time. Good plan.
You can twist it any way you want, Frank. But I did the right thing.
Yeah, you did the right thing. You remind me of your old man, stubborn, proud. Matter of fact, he's going to be the one to suffer most through all this. Lying in bed, wondering where did I go wrong?
If they do put me away, I swear to you, when I get out, I am going to be that lunatic you made me out to be.
John, that's what I like about you. You never give up. You remind me of an old Irish proverb my grandmother used to use. Every cripple has his own way of walking.
Everyone freeze! We have a federal warrant!
Sea levels, begin isolation and lock on the sea.
Any resistance will be met with lethal force. Yes, sir. Lock out. Sir. Turn out to get done. Have it right, sir.
Damn it.
The intruder alert is still in progress. All stations...
Max, I don't care if you have to shoot the damn speakers, but let's take care of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, who is this meet?
Oh, this is the senior man on the floor, sir.
Soldier, I want a complete schematic of this facility.
Not authorized to provide that at this time.
Excuse me, sir. What's your name, soldier?
Captain Schwarzkopf, sir.
Captain, do you believe in the authority of the United States government as legitimate?
Yes, sir. I am loyal to my country.
And do you recognize this man as the Attorney General of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Captain, you have just begun what I hope will be a very long career. I need to know where the classified material is stored.
You think you can get the Bach?
Get anybody.
Good. He needs to know we have a full hot zone here.
We have warrants from the U.S. Department of Justice. The Attorney General is formally seizing this property in the name of the citizens of the United States of America.
There's too much noise outside. We can't hear anything in here. We are seconds from detonating an explosive device. This is your final warning. Beds. All right, go. Tell him I'm stalling as long as I can. We need a bull rush shooter now. Gentlemen, welcome.
Gentlemen, please arrest these documents.
Am I being charged with anything?
What is the combination of that safe?
You see, now that's a real problem because I have a very bad memory. And as fate would have it, the guy who usually does that is sick today.
Mr. Kincaid, please bring the explosive charge over here.
Yes, sir.
Still time for you to do the right thing, Frank.
What might that be?
Come clean and get it all out in the open.
I have come clean, John. What, did Bobby put you up to saying that?
He doesn't tell me what to say.
Come on, John. You're nothing but his pet. Bobby says bark, you say how loud.
You know, you two should be on the same side. Why can't you see that?
Look, just face it. You bet on the wrong horse. You lost. End of story.
Things are going to be a lot different when he becomes president.
Bobby Kennedy will never become president.
Captain Bach, your lawyer's here.
Hello, John. You have been a bad boy. Didn't do as you were told. So now you must be punished.
I would have thought you'd be more convincing the other morning.
That was quite convincing. He must have already accepted his own death. Next time we take his woman.
See about that. Where's Albano?
There's been a little problem. The office is temporarily shut down.
Kennedy?
Albano suggests I pay Mr. Hoover a little visit.
Yeah. Nice little home visit might be in order.
Let's be smart here, Mr. Hoover. I want you to get out of bed real slow.
What kind of filth sent you?
We're looking for a film. A home movie. I believe it was discussed at a meeting in Mississippi.
All relevant material is inside?
Good, good.
We're looking for something similar on a mutual enemy. We know we can count on your cooperation.
Anti-American bastard. Bringing Clyde into this.
Edgar? Edgar, what's going on?
I'll handle this.
Over here.
If your employer needs something, he should have offered something.
He is. You get to have America go on thinking you're a real man. Okay, back inside.
It's in here.
Your underwear drawer?
Take it.
You keep your blackmail in your bedroom.
That's where the best kind's always found.
They made such a happy couple.
I'm not prepared to wait much longer. What exactly did he say?
The message from the Attorney General was quite specific. He said he had what we were looking for, and he'd be in with it this morning.
If we don't wait, I'll publicly resign from this commission and state my reasons for doing so.
All right. Noon. Then we move on. Joke is getting old. Do you want to turn the heat down now?
Sorry, but I've been relieved of all operational responsibility of this facility. Perhaps the Attorney General can turn the heat down for you.
Damn it, I will not tolerate your smug attitude any more than I will tolerate murder. I want Truman's executive order authorizing Majestic, and I want a list of its 12 directors.
Majestic doesn't officially exist, therefore there can be no directors.
Under the Constitution, I am charged with enforcing the laws of the United States of America. Now, under those laws and facing the penalties of treason, I order you to release the names.
My command does not recognize your authority, sir.
It's coming up now. Watch the driver.
Let's see that again.
Roll it back.
You and your Captain Bach may not have pulled the trigger, but your fingerprints are all over this. Who is that driver? Is he Majestic?
That discussion exceeds my security clearance.
If the evidence wasn't incriminating, why did you keep it in the vault?
The system isn't perfect by design. We both know why.
Call the commission. We're coming in now.
I think that might be premature.
She's unarmed. I think this could be important.
Our own little film festival.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kennedy?
This can be authenticated as having been filmed on the day Miss Monroe so tragically died. There is a copy at another location.
It'd be a terrible tragedy for the memory of Miss Monroe to be dragged through the sewer.
Would raise all sorts of legal questions as well. After all, up to now, her death has been treated as a suicide.
It's your call, Mr. Attorney General. Do we run these two films to the commission? Or do you want to work out a compromise? It would be better, of course, for you to make your statement to the commission in person.
Go to hell.
You're right. You probably want to get started immediately on your Senate campaign.
What are you talking about?
Well, you see, in anticipation of you stepping down as Attorney General, we'd like to support you in your continuation of public service.
There are no open Senate seats in Massachusetts.
I was talking about New York.
I don't live in New York.
You do now.
We took the liberty of buying your property there in anticipation of our meeting. Once you sign, we'll transfer it over to you.
For the unmitigated call.
George.
I wish to withdraw my sponsorship of this witness and apologize to the Commission for introducing this element into the proceedings at the last moment. I urge them to offer their conclusive findings as quickly as possible. Sincerely, Robert Francis Kennedy, Attorney General, United States of America.
You see what's happening? These people will stop at nothing. Their cover-up caused the death of our president, and somehow they've intimidated the Attorney General.
I have precious little reason to listen to you anymore.
Sir, did you check the bank records?
It looks like there might be something there. I have heard more than enough.
Go ahead, Mr. Lowengaard.
This country is supposed to be a democracy, run by and for the people. Now, this man here doesn't trust anybody but himself with the knowledge and power that he's been given. And that's arrogant. And that man is a member of Majestic 12, but he won't even admit it to his fellow commission members. More arrogance. Now, John Kennedy, he wasn't like these men. He trusted the people and he paid a terrible price. Your job here is to honor his life by finding the truth about his death. But if you refuse to see that truth, or if you find it but hide it from the people, then it is my opinion that you will have dishonored his memory and the future will be dark for all of us. I've said my piece. If you want to charge me with perjury, I will use my trial to tell the people what I've told you here in these chambers. And if I turn up dead in some car wreck or other accident, well, then you have your suspect right here.
Mr. Barrett, please see that the Justice Department knows where to find them.
Mr. Chief Justice, I believe there have been too many questions raised. The only conditions under which I will sign a report prepared by this commission are ones where Captain Bach makes a full and complete disclosure as to the nature of Majestic 12.
Jerry, I have to agree with you.
Mr. Chief Justice, with your permission, may I approach? Under my executive order, I am authorized to give security clearance on a case-by-case basis. Given the unusual nature of what we're dealing with here, I am prepared to make full disclosure to Chief Justice Warren, but only to him. Mind if I smoke, sir? Would you like one?
No, thanks.
I started smoking these things right after Castro got in. Couldn't find a good cigar anymore. Of course, he smoked them right up to the very end. Well, sir, as I testified earlier, Mr. Lowengaard did have some things right. Majestic 12 does exist.
And the story about Roswell, it's true.
Aliens? No, sir. What happened at Roswell was that an elite group of Soviet commandos working together with a fifth column here in the United States almost got away with 2 hydrogen bombs.
So what's your mission then?
To help fight the Cold War. Beat the communists. Whatever else you can say about Joe McCarthy, he did have one thing right. The enemy is with us all day, every day, working almost invisibly among us. Now, the CIA can't do anything in this country. The FBI is too public, and so Majestic 12 was created to help do the dirty work.
President Kennedy threatened to expose you.
Well, sir, if you're wondering whether we had anything to do with the assassination, no, we did not. We did not kill him. But we did have an agent tailing him. We wanted to know what he was up to. Well, it turned out that our guy was a double agent, the same one Lowengaard told you about. A communist, just like Oswald.
You know, you lied to me under oath, Captain. I mean, why should I believe you now? And if what you're saying now is true, then I have a duty to report it because it bears directly upon the assassination of President Kennedy.
Well, sir, there's truth, and then there's truth. If you really want to tell the American people the real truth about this, we're going to be at war, nuclear war, almost immediately. There are other ways to fight, sir, and keep the Cold War cold. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be incinerated over the assassination of President Kennedy.
Welcome back, sir.
Welcome back, Captain.
John, wait a second, listen. The Attorney General wants you to have this.
He can keep his money.
No, you take it. I want you to have it.
We need it.
John, listen. I'm sorry the way things turned out, okay? I would... Good luck. Godspeed.
Well, at least we did what we set out to do.
Here we are, right back where we started.
Today, the Warren Commission released its long-awaited report on the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The commission concludes that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone and finds no credible evidence of a conspiracy. In accepting the report, President Lyndon Johnson discharged the commission with these words: "You have earned the gratitude of your countrymen." Johnson said he hopes that the facts will heal the nation.
My testimony before the Warren Commission does not appear in the final report. It is scheduled to be unsealed on December 31st, 1999.
My name is John Loengard. I have no current address.
Next Saturday from 3:40, there's a Dark Skies double bill. Well, next on 4, Robbie Coltrane gets up close to the jet engine.